Hey guys, Scott here. This video is going to go up a little late. I apologize for that. My afternoon was a little busier. I had to go get a trailer from town, so I'm making this about 5 o'clock tonight. Um, Honestly, I'm not really going to have a major topic to talk about for this video. I've got a couple questions that it'll take a little while to unpack, so good questions, worth answering. I just don't want to take up 15 minutes of time talking about some random topic. I do want to say, though, for those of you who are at West Central watching this, I'm sure most of you have seen, but Prom is canceled, which sucks. It really does. I'm looking at some alternative things to do for Prom. So if you're interested, you can let me know. If you're not, then just, I guess, it sucks that Prom's canceled. Yeah, that's really all I had to talk about at the beginning of this video today. I'm just going to jump into some questions. Try to answer some of these to the best of my ability. The first question, describe your workout. And that's hard to do. I guess I don't really have a strict workout regime. I probably should. And if any of you have any good ideas for those, let me know. This feels like a better question for me to answer while I'm at the gym, so I might actually come back to that. I'll make a video while I'm at the gym. But yeah, I just sort of use the machines as they come, so that's it. My stance on premarital relations. I'm assuming whoever asked this question is talking about sex before marriage. Honestly, I don't have an opinion on it. I guess I'm not going to judge you if you do it. It's not like I have plenty of friends that are casual in their romantic life, so I'm not going to judge you for that. I don't take the hardline stance that you must be a virgin before you marry. That's not really just. I just don't. I guess I understand that position. I just don't really follow it and believe it. So yeah, it doesn't really bother me that much. Yeah. Skip the next two questions. What are your thoughts on the stimulus package from Trump? So I talked about this a little on Friday, and I'll go through it again. My thoughts on the package are twofold. One, we shouldn't have passed it. It really, the economy may have needed it, but that doesn't mean Congress is authorized to pass it. So these states that are shutting down their economies, it's not a nationwide shutdown. Like, Congress has not ordered people to stay home. Most individual states have done that. So these individual states should be passing these bailouts. I don't understand why it falls on Congress to pass a $2 trillion bill. States can do it, and if they're restricted from doing it, like a balanced budget, then they should have saved up money. I mean, that applies to everybody, governments, companies, people alike. Saving is important. Most people don't understand that. They'll just live in the moment and spend all the money and live paycheck to paycheck, but saving is important. You have to save, because that's how you create value. If you just borrow money over and over and over again, eventually the creditors will run out and you'll have to pay that back, and then you'll be screwed. So save money. You should always have 6 months worth of at least 6 months worth of spending in the bank. That way you can get through a hard time like this in case you lose your job. If you don't, learn to budget. Don't live on a credit card. Don't live on plastic money. Save. And that goes for Congress too. If the Congress wants to spend this kind of money, they should have saved. The problem is we just spend money up the wazoo. We run over our budget $1 trillion a year. Our national debt is $25 trillion now, actually. It was 23, but this $2 trillion bill was just on top of everything else, so it will be 25. Congress needs to cut spending drastically. It needs to raise taxes. As a conservative, it hurts me to say that, but that's the only way we're going to get out of this hole, and we need to pay off some of the national debt and to save money for a rainy day. That applies to the national government, that applies to state governments too. If you're a state government, you should be doing that. If you're a local government, if your township should have money saved up for a rainy day. Your school system should have money saved up for a rainy day. I know our school system does, which is what we're pulling out of every year since we run deficits, but we had a budget that saved up for rainy days, for when budget times get hard. We should be doing that. The government should be doing that. Saving is important. That's my thought on the stimulus package. Actually, my second point. As stimulus packages go, it's not the worst. So I don't like it, but it's better than the bailouts of 2008, 2009, where you just wrote a big check to these companies, no strings attached. These are loans that you should have, that most companies have to pay back. The small business ones aren't, which kind of upsets me. There's grants, but I guess it's not that bad. The direct payments to citizens is the best worst thing. Like I said on Friday, it is the best worst thing Congress could have done. Um, it's better than welfare because there's no strings attached, no means testing. You're not gonna have to go get a job to get this money. It just goes into your bank account, which is good. If Congress wants to do something like that, you should just give money to the citizens because it's our money. We shouldn't have to do certain things. Just give us our money back. So yeah, those are the two thoughts on that. Hardest sport at WC? Marching band, no question. And if you disagree with me, you've never been in marching band. And I don't say that lightly. I know that a lot of kids on here probably play football or something that would disagree. Please go try marching band. Football is 10, 15 seconds of really, just a lot of energy burned, and then a minute and a half of nothing. And 15 seconds of a lot, and then a minute and a half of nothing. And wait for the play to get recalled. Marching band is 10 straight minutes of a lot. Every weekend for 2 months. Yeah, that's the hardest sport at WC. Why are politicians a-holes? Not all politicians are, but I understand the sentiment. Power corrupts. That seems cliche, but it power corrupts, and politicians who get in office tend to want to stay in office. They don't. A lot of people are flawed, and so they just go into office, and then they want to stay there because they like the comfort, especially in Washington when you do nothing. Most congressmen spend half their time fundraising for the next election, especially if you're in the House. Like you get elected, and your first sort of 8 months there, you're trying to get reoriented and meet everybody and figure out how the system works. And then for about 6, 7, 8 months, you actually do your job. And then the last 8 months, you're fundraising and you're running for re-election, so you don't actually get anything done. I don't like how the system is. That's why we should have term limits. But I feel like it would correct a lot of this, especially the politicians a-hole things. Because if they knew they couldn't run again, I think they'd actually care about their job. Most people just care about getting re-elected. Next question. What could or should the United States do about poaching and deforestation and animal trafficking? So, again, it depends. Animal trafficking could be, because it crosses international bounds, borders, that classifies as a job for Congress to take care of. And so Congress should step in. We could regulate that. We can enforce laws against that, border patrol and such. Poaching and deforestation fall on local levels and state levels, so Congress really doesn't have an input there. I know Congress has a lot of nationally have a lot of public lands, but the answer to that is we shouldn't. And the best way to stop deforestation, honestly, is to privatize lands. Because if you're a logging company working on public land, you don't care because it's public land. If you have to buy the land and this is your piece of land that you're going to produce lumber for the next 30 years, you're much more likely to replant trees. And so the best thing we can do for deforestation is to privatize all this land, or at least put it back in the hands of the states. The national government doesn't need control of all this land. Give it to the states or privatize it. Same thing for poaching. Poaching is a local estate thing. It's not that the power to stop poaching does not fall to the national government at all. And so at a state level, obviously, I feel like we should enforce rules against that, especially in areas where wildlife is endangered. But Congress should not be doing anything about that. Your local state legislator, in Pierre, should be. Congress should not. How long is your, hair? It says hair. I promise. Guarantee it. My hair, I don't know, a couple inches. Too long, but all the barbers are closed, so it's just going to get longer. I promise you guys that's what the question said. Next comment is, I need that A, Scotty G. Well, Peter, just do your homework, and you'll get the A. I promise. The next one's interesting. Discuss the social contract of virginity as something valuable. So this is an interesting topic that I haven't actually really thought about. I'll run through my thought process here. So for guys, it purely is a social construct. I mean, just biologically speaking, there's nothing special about your first time for a guy. As far as I understand, for a girl, that's different. There are actual physical, there's like a tangible physical thing that denotes whether you're a virgin or not. And sometimes I just, as far as I know, that's as far as I'm going to go into it because I don't know enough about female biology to continue talking about that. Socially, though, virginity as a construct is valuable because it helps to regulate sex, I guess. So the libertarian in me says that if you want to have sex, go have sex, right? If you're of the age of consent, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not living your life. It doesn't bother me. Go do it. But there is something valuable about saving yourself for marriage. Like I talked about it earlier, and I don't really care if you do, but on a societal level, there is something valuable about that. And we can look at America since the sexual revolution in the 1960s and 70s and prove that point, right? So before that, divorce rates were really low. Single motherhood rates and single fatherhood rates were really low. The poverty rate was lower. Crime was not as prevalent. And so the unshackling of sex from marriage has had bad consequences for society. Now, that does not mean Congress should get involved. I mean, the answer to that is we as a people should be more religious. A lot of this coincides with the death of churches. And so if churches made a revival, I feel like a lot of these problems would go away. I see I'm wrong, sorry. But yeah, so yeah, that's about it. Virginity as a social construct is valuable because it helps regulate some of these things, and saving yourself for marriage tends to adds a level of religiosity to the marriage, I suppose. I won't say purity, but like it adds something of value to the marriage, right? Then the marriage isn't just a civil contract, then there's something actually powerful about getting married. You're picking that one person to have sex with the rest of your life, as opposed to just having a bunch of sex before marriage and then marrying somebody. So yeah, there's that. Next question: has Trump addressed the pandemic well? No. Again, no. I don't think he has. And if you think he has, you haven't watched his press conferences. I mean, he waited 6 weeks just to really ramp up testing, right? Like we knew about this in January, and really got prevalent in February, and then we waited till March to really start testing this stuff. So, and for the president to start taking a lead. And I say that as a guy who doesn't feel like the president needs to take a lead on this. Like I like it when I see governors take action. Like it looks good. I would much prefer a governor step in and take a bold action than a president do that, because each individual state can handle this differently, right? South Dakota is not New York. New York has been hit really hard. Andrew Cuomo is doing a lot of good things for his state. South Dakota is not the same way, and so having the same regulations for these states at a national level is not a good idea. So, but Trump could have stepped in and addressed this a little better, or he should be addressing it a lot better than he currently is. He doesn't seem to have like really solid grasp on the situation. Although in the last few days he's sort of mellowed out. He's listened to his doctors around him instead of just spewing nonsense like he usually does. So the way he's addressing it has gotten better. It's not the best, but it has gotten better. I just feel like it might be a little too late. Next question. Is socialism necessary in national emergencies like the pandemic? No, it is not. Sorry, something in my throat. So socialism is not necessary at all, ever. And the reason for that is socialism only makes things worse. There is no good that comes out of socialism. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. collective action by the government in the marketplace is bad. It's always bad. And it always will be bad because that's not how economics works. Right? Economics is just the sum total of every voluntary exchange that you and I engage in, whether for money or trade or just social interactions. That is the economy. The government has no business being involved, very little business being involved. And so when the government takes over whole chunks of the economy and whole chunks of those private voluntary exchanges, bad things happen. Even in pandemics, even in a national emergency, the government does not need to seize control of the means of production, as Karl Marx would say. It's just going to make things worse. Right? Capitalism is and always will be the best cure for these national emergencies. The free market will handle these things a lot better than government does. Private companies are what's developing the vaccine. It's why the number of testing kits has gone up dramatically in the last month. The government has done very little. Private industry has done a lot. So capitalism is still the best way to go. Next question is interesting. Should presidents only veto things that are unconstitutional? That is a really good question, and to be honest, I'm torn on the answer to that. In a perfect world, yes, but that's because Congress would only legislate things that are constitutional. So, like the presidency was not meant to be partisan originally. It was just meant to be like the top police captain. I mean, essentially, it was just meant there to enforce the laws. It wasn't supposed to suggest laws or make laws. But the job also comes with international diplomacy and foreign relations and and treaties and such. So there is some politics to the position. As it stands, no. As a president, you are elected to represent a set of principles, and if a law comes your way that disagrees with those principles, you should veto it. Ideally, though, every president's principles would be the same, just because it's like the Supreme Court. Like, it's not supposed to be partisan, it's not supposed to be different judgments. You're just a caretaker. And so the only major difference in presidents should be foreign policy-wise. So on foreign policy, no, you should just veto laws that disagree with your principles. Domestically, yeah, you should probably only veto things that are unconstitutional. That's what a lot of presidents did up to about Lincoln. Most presidents just signed laws that were constitutional and let them go through because they understood that the president isn't there to make law, he's there to enforce it. So, yeah, I guess, yeah, so split. Foreign policy-wise, no, you should not just veto laws that are unconstitutional. Domestically, yes, you should just veto those laws and let every other law go through. And the last comment, I agree, you need flavor, you should get those soundboards, and when you roast Trump, do the air horn thing, and like zoom in when you make a corny joke. I don't know, man, just add some spice. Duly noted. I guess I'll get some soundboards and use an air horn or a corny joke. If you guys have jokes for me to tell, you should let me know. I'll tell them. Yeah, so that's the end of the questions. It's about a 20-minute video, it's not bad. Let me know if you guys want me to follow up on any of the topics I talked about today. We had some good topics. The unconstitutionality thing and the virginity thing was good, or good things to talk about. I might do an episode on religion and on my views on God, because I know those are unique. I've talked about this with a couple friends of mine, and we have a long running debate about just what the nature of God is. So I might talk about that in a video. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, let me know, or anything, just let me know, and I'll answer them. Otherwise, yeah, again, for West Central juniors and seniors, it sucks that prom is canceled. I encourage you guys to safely go do something that night, go celebrate. This is your year, don't just stay at home, because being out of society for too long is detrimental to your mental health. We as humans are social creatures. So, yeah, go celebrate. Do it safely. Don't get in big crowds, but don't just sit at home. All right. Otherwise, everybody be safe and have a good night, and I will see you in the next video.